fitness myths.
Claims surrounding protein and physical fitness are plenty, and you've probably heard the first one that I'm going to discuss. There are many people who claim that high protein intake will damage your kidneys. The research on this very first claim is very expansive. The reason that some exercise physiologists claim that high protein intake will damage your kidneys is because there are studies showing that your blood urea nitrogen, or BUN, levels increased with an increased proportion of protein in your diet. However, your BUN levels are not the only marker of kidney function, and many physiologists do not even believe that it's a good one. When other markers of kidney function have been tested with high protein diets, the studies concluded that there was no risk whatsoever. You will be more dehydrated in a higher protein diet, so you should drink more water. That is definitely something to consider. And there was one long-term study over many decades with over 100,000 people from 22 different countries that showed that there was a higher death rate for people eating high protein, low carb diets than people eating low protein, high carb diets. However, the researchers did not have reason for death, so there was no way to correlate this with kidney damage as an effect towards death. So to conclude, high protein intake damaging your kidney is a myth. The second claim that we're going to discuss about protein in relation to physical fitness is that protein intake can help to reduce muscle soreness after a tough workout. It is true that protein intake is critical for the development of muscle repair and growth post-exercise. However, studies show that protein intake does not reduce muscle soreness the next day after a workout. And that doesn't matter if you take your protein directly after a workout, or if you take your protein later on in the day, or if you don't take protein at all, muscle soreness was not affected. This is a myth. The final claim about protein and physical fitness that we will discuss is that you should get your protein directly after a workout. Science does show that there is an anabolic window directly after a workout, up to about 45 minutes. Studies show that this window allows for your body to accept nutrients most effectively while repairing the muscles that you have broken down during the workout. Protein is a very important need during this time, but science shows that carbohydrates are also needed after a workout. There is specific science relating to the senior population that post-workout protein intake is very helpful in muscular growth. So to conclude, getting protein directly after a workout is truth, not myth. We're going to move on to a new topic, stretching. There are many claims about stretching. One of the most common is that stretching, either before or after a workout, can help prevent soreness the next day. The evidence from randomized studies suggests that muscle stretching, whether conducted before, after, or before and after, does not produce clinically important reductions in delayed onset muscle soreness in healthy adults. This is a myth. Another popular claim in relation to stretching is that stretching helps to improve athletic performance. The evidence for improvement of athletic performance is not clear-cut. We're comparing static stretching, which is holding your stretch for a long time. When you static stretch, holding that stretch for 30 seconds, 1 minute right before athletic performance, it definitely decreases performance. Dynamic stretching, which is constant movement in your stretching, there's no hold. Science has been unable to prove whether this hurts or helps in athletic performance. The last claim we're going to investigate is that stretching can help prevent injuries. Some journalists and websites will claim that there are studies that show that stretching will not help prevent injury. This is a complex issue because one stretch right before a workout won't prevent an injury. However, there's an overwhelming science to stretching being able to increase the range of motion in joints, and increase in range of motion does decrease injury occurrence. This is scientific truth. So the truth is that consistently training your muscle fibers to improve your range of motion through stretching will help prevent injuries. And I would actually argue that this increases performance because you can train more consistently over time without injuries. This is an angle that is lacking in the scientific literature. So we're going to move into some of the more traditional claims that you hear, especially from fitness enthusiasts. The first claim is that you need to feel the burn for your exercise to be working. Feeling the burn does not always mean that this is the best way to exercise. Oftentimes, the exercises that burn the most are isolated muscle group exercises, which science shows are less effective than compound exercises that engage multiple muscle groups. This means that if you're doing a bicep curl that's really hurting your biceps, it may not be as effective as a pull-up, which is working your biceps, your triceps, your lats, all kinds of different areas. Feeling the burn does make people feel like they're getting in a good workout, which is a positive thing as there is an important mind-body connection. However, the key is to push yourself with all your exercises rather than looking for a deep burn. This is a myth. The next very common claim that is spoken in the fitness industry is that women will gain muscle mass if they lift weights. Testosterone is the main hormone that helps to build new muscle mass. Women possess 10 to 20 times less testosterone than males. In addition, men have considerably more fast-twitch muscle fibers than women. Fast-twitch muscle fibers are the fibers that account for weightlifting. In comparison, the proportion of slow-twitch muscle fibers in a woman's body of that to a man's is almost even. And these are the muscle fibers that account for endurance and posture. So this is a myth. The last claim we're going to talk about in this section is one of the most common. You can tone up your abs by doing a bunch of crunches. Spot reduction is not the most effective form of exercise to create the muscle tone look. The abdominal area will look strong with fat loss and proper strengthening. Fat loss comes from calorie expenditure. Crunches are a very ineffective way at burning calories. A better exercise strategy would be an exercise like the squat. The squat is the body weight exercise that burns the most calories per movement. This will help increase fat loss, and the muscles in the abdominals will show through. It is true that the muscles must be conditioned to look strong and toned, but isolated exercises like the crunch for the abs and the curl for the biceps are not the best way to do this. A push-up engages the core and the biceps like a crunch and a curl, but burns many more calories because so many simultaneous muscle groups are being used. Again, this is a myth. Okay, next we're going to talk about one of the hot button fitness topics of the time, fasting. One claim made is that working out on an empty stomach increases fat loss. This claim is often made by fitness enthusiasts who use research to back it up. It is true that there are studies that show a person will expend more fat calories on an empty stomach than on a stomach with food in it. However, these expended fat calories will not lead to increased fat loss. There are at least two reasons for this. First, when a person works out on an empty stomach, they not only burn more fat calories, but they burn more muscle proteins. This is very bad. The body is looking for all forms of energy since there are no immediate sources of energy. When a person burns muscle proteins for energy, it is a very inefficient process. In addition, the repair process to grow back these muscle proteins is hard, and losing lean muscle mass to reduce fat is not a good long-term solution. Lean muscle mass accounts for the main use of the energy of a person brings in during the day, and so it is detrimental to reduce lean muscle mass. The second reason that working out on an empty stomach will not increase fat loss is because after the body comes out of the fasting situation, the body triggers itself to hold on to more fat in case that emergency situation comes again. This, along with the reduction in lean muscle mass, leads to reduced resting metabolic rate, which is one of the most important factors in fat loss. So this is a myth. A secondary claim about fasting is that intermittent fasting can help control blood sugar and increase weight loss. Even though working out on a fasted stomach isn't good, there is research that states that intermittent fasting can be effective in weight loss and controlling blood sugar. The research is pretty overwhelming in the claim that blood sugar can be controlled by intermittent fasting. Some research even implies that it can reverse diabetes. The weight loss research is less overwhelming, but evidence is there. Many intermittent fasting diets call for the dieter to eat as much as they want when not during a fast. This does not work at all. However, eating healthy and fasting will help promote weight loss as the body is forced to use different forms of energy such as fat cells. There is even research that claims that the cells become more resistant to disease and the brain more resistant to breakdown by following an intermittent fasting diet. So this is true. We're going to finish with a few more common fitness claims and try to distinguish whether they're myth or truth. The first is that a sauna suit is a safe way to lose weight. Neoprene is the rubber-like material that makes up a sauna suit. It insulates the body so that the exerciser increases their body temperature higher than capable with just exercise. The thought is that this will increase the number of calories burned. Though it is true that the calories burned does increase slightly, the suit prevents one from actually releasing the sweat and stays on the skin much longer. This causes the body temperature to stay high for up to 20 minutes longer than traditional exercise. In addition, neoprene was named the Allergen of the Year by the American Contact Dermatitis Society in 2009. Thousands of cases of irritation and even some more extreme allergic reactions are reported every year by people who use products with neoprene. The next claim that we will investigate is that interval training is more effective than traditional cardio. Interval training is when a participant exercises really hard for a short period of time and then takes an extended lower level exercise break. This is compared to steady state cardio training, where you exercise at slightly above moderate intensity for consecutive time. There are now many studies that confirm that using interval training in place of steady state cardio training is much more effective. One of the more recent and astounding studies showed that the same calorie loss benefit in 10 minutes of interval training was equal to 50 minutes of steady state cardio training. This is truth. The last claim that I want to get to is that body fat percentage is a better measure of health than weight. There is a common misconception that the weight of the person is the best way to see how healthy they are. Weight does not take into account the percentage of muscle versus fat tissue. Body fat percentage is the only true way to find out how much fat there is in a person's body. Science has now linked body fat percentage with many diseases and cancers. This is truth.